Well, thank you very much. We are joined by Dr. Wallace Williams, who is one of the members of the Pan-African Institute and also the director of FESTAC, who is here to just give us some more details about the African Union job, the AUC, and what it takes to have a candidate going all the way. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Let's start quickly, and let's start from that process, because Kenyans would like to know how does one become an AU Commission chairperson?
There is a procedure, and we have looked at the procedure. The procedure is the ability to select candidates from the various regions, and then the next process is that they do a computer-based exam, which from us as Pan-Africanists, we find that extremely flawed, because why would you have an international or Western organization setting questions, computer-based, for leadership of the African Union? So that process, which is just about to come up in the next 2 months, is very, very key to selection and the selection process after shortlisting candidates. And Pan-Africanists will be concerned, because how can you have an accounting firm from a Western power choosing an African leader to lead the continent? That is not right, cannot be right. Then again, how are the questions going to be constituted? How are they going to be framed? What is the criteria for those questions and the objectives for those questions? And a computer-based exam, as you know, can be loaded in favor of a particular candidate after you have known who the shortlisting of those candidates are.
Okay. So you're opposed to these interviews, or what is the point?
Well, the point is that we have the capacity within the continent, if we have to interview shortlisted candidates on the continent. So knowing fully well as Pan-Africanists how much leverage that people bring to bear on the African Union from outside, we are saying that this should not be happening. You should not have an outside institution from Africa putting the criteria for choosing a candidate on a computer-based exam. Because once you fail that exam, then you're done. Then you're done. And you could have missed the very best candidate, based on our criteria, not on a Western organization and an institution, a computer-based question choosing that candidate.
Okay. And perhaps in your process, because you mentioned to me earlier that you also did some research about the suitable candidates, whom did you come up with, and which of those?
We looked at the suitable leadership candidates. That was in August 2023. We had 55 people that were there with us from across the continent, but we formed a working group of about 20, representing almost 20 countries.
Which countries?
They were Malawi, Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania, Rwanda, South Africa, Kenya, Trinidad and Tobago. The list is a good representation of Pan-African countries, across the continent, or Pan-African individuals from, different African countries. And we formed a working group. And that working group came up with 2 candidates, particularly. We looked at Pierre Lumumba from Kenya, and then we also looked at Dr. Arika, Chimbere from Zimbabwe. We felt that they were suitable based on their commitment and demonstration of looking at Pan-African issues over the past 4, 5, 6 years. For example, PLO has in almost every country in Africa a foundation mentoring youths. And then Arikana has set up an institute, African Diaspora Development Institute. That is showing commitment to Pan-African issues.
Okay. And perhaps, did you come across the name of Raila Odinga in terms of the research that you did, and do you think he has what it takes to be the next AUC chair?
Well, no person came up then, because nobody had put forward any candidates. As I told you, we did the research between August, September, and October last year. even going to the AU and getting information as how the process is run and how do they come up with the procedure and the processes, and where is the transparency in choosing the candidate. And we realized that there were some flaws, very serious flaws, like what we just spoke about. At that time, no candidates were put forward. Now that candidates are being put forward, they have to be examined based on what is their commitment and has been their commitment to the Pan-African issues. That's how I would load, a question. What have you done for the past 10 years to demonstrate, or 5 years even, to demonstrate your commitment to Pan-African issues? If a candidate has to be chosen, a criteria such as that, I think would be a fair criteria to them, because it's like electing a president. You need to know what are you going to do? What are the dividends you're going to deliver to the continent? And how are you going to demonstrate that you have been, very much involved in solving issues and providing solutions in Africa?
All right.
That would be a key issue as choosing a candidate if I was part of the selection procedure.
All right. And perhaps as we bring it to a close, what would you think is the right way for Africa? And of course, for those countries that are presenting candidates, whom should they look for? What the candidates?
They should look for future leaders, committed leaders, Pan-Africanists, true Pan-Africanists who are going to address the issues, take the bull by the horns and ride the rough bull of the African issues and get them, corrected, work with teams or a team of concentrated people who are in line with the Pan-African issues that we talk about, so that, the continent could be confident, yes, that the leadership of the AU is in the right hands is important.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, that has been Dr. Wallace from the Pan-African Institute, just giving us some of his insights about the Pan-Africanism that he is championing and the AU job that is up for grabs for the African candidates who will be showing up, of course, for that race and the elections held next year, February 2025. So that is the much time we had with him. Thank you so much for watching, and hand it back to you, Jesse, on the other end.
Well, To, thanks for that chit-chat with the ambassador right there, breaking down some of the timelines around the AUC chair position. And according to a tentative calendar of events, aspiring candidates have between February and March to declare their interest for the seat. We've seen that happen with one of the candidates before ushering in the AU to announce the candidates who will have met that cut. After that, the candidates will appear before a panel of eminent persons who will vet candidates and draw up a short list. After that, or rather this is to ensure that candidates are chosen on merit and not solely through deal-making between states and regions. The shortlist will open up the official campaigns, and elections will therefore be held in 2025. But back to some of the issues we've seen emerging. Bichachi, I'd like to begin with you on this, because there's a proposal that has been circulated to member states, I think it was last week, Tuesday, that says only female contenders should be eligible in the next contest, even though the seat will be rotating to the East Africa region. So if this particular proposal goes through, what does it mean for Raila Odinga?
Well, first and foremost, there's a bit of, how do I put it, horse trading when it comes to this particular issue. Mm-hmm. In the East African region, there's only one country that has a female candidate. Only one. And that is Rwanda. Okay? But the proposals being issued now require every member country to agree. So the question is not whether Raila Odinga will run for that seat and whether these rules will kick him out. The question is, does President William Ruto support Raila's bid? Then I can assure you, you've got at least one vote that will shoot those proposals down. That vote will be Kenya's vote, for sure.
So you just need one vote to shoot these proposals and it would pass.
Yes. So those proposals are dead in the water. Dead in the water. And I'll tell you why. It is extremely profitable and expedient for President William Ruto, both in terms of his governing the country for the next 3 years and in terms of his political fortunes in 2027, it is extremely expedient for him that Raila Odinga goes for that AU seat. Kenya will not allow for those proposals to go through. So there's no need even to lose any amount of sleep because of it. The candidature of Raila Odinga can only be threatened by one human being. He's called Kikwete. There's no one else.
From where you sit. Okay.
I can tell you the gravitas, the amount of impetus that Kenya is going to put onto it needs to be put in perspective with Amina's bid. Remember, former CS Amina ran for this office. She lost by 3 votes. 3 votes. Now, the rotation is in East Africa. The candidate is Raila Odinga. The profile of Raila Odinga versus Amina is worlds apart, and Amina was only 3 votes shy of it.
Okay.
Raila Odinga stands the biggest chance of getting that seat. So the question for me is a matter of when, not even if. Because if President Kikwete does not declare he is standing, because Kikwete is first, remember, he's East African, but also Tanzania is part of this SADC, the South African conglomeration. So he's likely to get a bulk of South African support. But in the absence of Kikwete, the campaign will be over by June.
Interesting to note. Perhaps let's bring the local political angle as you add up to what he said. Because as we were talking during the break, there are positions that need to be filled if, or rather when, Baba assumes that particular position. The opposition leader, he's been the defunct opposition leader in Kenya for over 20 years. The ODM leader, one of the longest serving parties in the country, and equally the regional kingpin. So if you look at these boxes, will they all be filled with one individual? We saw Raila in Northeastern touting for Joho and Junet. We've had talk of Oparanya as the deputy party leader, assuming leadership of ODM. From Nyanza, where you sit, how will this matrix play out?
First of all, as you've just put it, when Raila steps out, he will not leave one shoe. He will leave 4 pairs. Azimio, ODM, Luo, and the king of opposition politics in Kenya. Those will be filled most likely by different people. But again, it will also depend on who fills the Luo one and if he will ever fit that shoe. I doubt if right now we have anybody who would fit that shoe. Because that shoe fitting in it must also depend on your politics. Can you create for the Luo an object of hate? Can you create for the Luo an object of hope? Can you be their Messiah to deliver them to the land of hope? Can you be their protector to defend them from the object of hate? When you answer those questions, and you can also tell them what you mean, you don't mean at times, and go back and face them without feeling any guilt, then you probably will fit that shoe. But you see, the problem also in Luoland, because that must be filled by a Luo. The problem also in Luoland, majority of the people hanging around Raila Odinga are people he has made. There are no self-made politicians there. You find somebody has been an MP, is now running the 4th time, but it still requires Raila Odinga to raise his hand to be re-elected by the very people he has served for almost 20 years. That tells you that without Raila Odinga, he is going nowhere. He cannot even face those people because he cannot answer even the questions they will ask him. It's only Raila Odinga in Luoland who is not asked, what have you done for us? But these other people will be asked, Hatunai, Hatunai. So it is a very difficult thing. And you see, when you see Oburu raise the hand of Wandai, and Raila Odinga goes and raises that one of Mbadi, then you know they are trying to test waters. But because they don't want to answer the question, why did you raise the hand of so and so and so and so and so at the same time? So they use different people to test these waters. Interestingly, those 2 people have never been accepted in Luoland as Luos. Mbadi is sober. Suba have been assimilated and they speak Luo and they are almost Luo. He's more acceptable than even Wandai, because Wandai's immediate ancestry is Luya. So all this will come into play. The only person who has made the Luos not see those differences in sub-tribes and so on is Raila Odinga, because he sold his brand of politics, the cultic nature of that politics, very early in time. By now, if you are trying to uproot it, you can't. It is too late. You can only pray that he gets out so that you create new leadership there. Then come to the ODM party. I saw him talk about Oparanya and Joho. That is just a trick to tell them, stick with me, you will get something. But the moment is out. Just the same way, the moment Jaramogi was out, his preferred candidate Wamalwa, nobody would even want to think about him. Because this as a mere thing, the moment you remove ODM, it is nothing left. And in ODM, the moment you remove Luos, there's nothing left. All of these other people still hanging in ODM. They are hanging on the ODM, the Luo part of the vote that makes ODM. Like in Mombasa, they really love ODM because Mombasa has 150,000 strong Luo voters. But them, they don't seek those seats because Baba comes and says, I want the votes of these coastal people. So nyinyi kaeni kando tupate ikitu. Okay. So those people are there because of the Luo block that they get in voting.
Then tell me this briefly. Where does this leave Ruto and his escapades within the Nyanza region? Does his frontmen, the likes of Owalo, I don't want to point fingers, but does this leave you in a better position in terms of inheriting that block?
Well, let me tell you something. Today, the Luo can still vote as a block, and if you don't have Raila, you don't have it.
Okay.
But the moment Raila is out, it will be free for all. Owalo will take his quarter, go with it. Raymond will take his other quarter, go with it.
Sure.
The rest will take the other quarter, go. It will be, itakuwa imezambaratika. Everybody will go with this piece. It is only today. Though I know the ODM leaders in Luoland are beginning to create a new narrative, telling William Ruto, if you want the Luos, just talk to Raila Odinga. If you want the Luos, because that is the only way they know they will have their cake and eat it. If it is not Raila Odinga, the people will ask them questions that they will never answer, because all now, the only trick you play in Luoland is praise Raila Odinga in the morning, in the evening, at the funeral, at Harambes, when you are singing in the bus, all the time. Then you get what you want.
Okay.
What about when that will not be the trick?
So you foresee
everybody will be on his own.
Okay, okay. Interesting. As you come in, perhaps let's look at the eventuality, because we've had this being touted time and time again. Of course, when he's successful, or if he's successful, it starts 2025, meaning that he won't necessarily be on the ballot 2027 if he's still assuming that position. But we've heard of people mention it doesn't stop Raila. You know, it's only 2 hours away. It doesn't stop Raila from joining local politics. As a matter of fact, he can resign and come back and vie, you know? So how do you look at it? Because the political chess move right here is make sure Raila is in AU, power abhors vacuum, and perhaps will inherit this to our benefit in 2027. So how do you play it out?
Number one, do you people really know who Baba is? Because the answer is right there. The Baba will take the AU post. Because this one is not being given by IBs. Where is Chebukati? Chebukati, where are you? You are not the one announcing the results for this one.
All right.
So Baba will take this seat. And then once he takes this seat, Baba will wake up one morning towards August 2026 and say, I have a higher national calling. The people at home need me more than AU. And you will not stop him from coming, because Baba has to be on the ballot in 2027. So whether he will win or not is another question. But think about it. The NADCO report was being given yesterday. To who? The two presidents, Baba and Ruto, in equal measure.
One president.
No,
okay.
We have one president.
Yes.
And then we have a people's president, who people have, you know, he saw himself in as the people's president. And you know, when you swear yourself in as the people's president, it doesn't end until the day we are told the term for the people's. You know, we know when Uhuru's presidency expired.
Okay.
Because it is there in the constitution. But once you are sworn in public as the people's president, we've not been told that his term as the people's president has expired. So, and that's why you're seeing in 2028, do you think Baba wants to be somewhere where there's something national happening, and whoever the president will be that time is being given a report and he's not there, he will share in that power somehow for life.
Okay.
So Baba will go to AU.
All right.
And
Yes,
God willing,
I
he
need
will
to-
come back.
Yes,
Of
I
course, and I will tell you, whoever will be president in
Okay.
2028, Baba will share in that presidency. And he will share in all the presidencies that will come for life.
As he had before. Okay, briefly, because we have to take a short break.
We need to understand one thing, and this needs to be very, very critically understood. Owidi has said that Raila Odinga wears 4 shoes. Fanyamambo has said that Raila Odinga is an enigma in Kenyan politics. It is true. The question you must ask yourself is Raila Odinga going to lose his ability to network in Kenya because he's at the AU? Is he, for example, going to abdicate his power among the Luo community without having the ability to have say in what is going to happen to that vote? If you know Raila Odinga, I can tell you for free, his larger than life persona, even if he cannot come to the country and lift someone's hand and say Tosha, or even if he does a deal with William Ruto, at the end of the day, Raila Odinga will have a big say in 2027.
We can't negate him in Kenyan politics. So no, you
What I wanted to tell you, when he said that Raila Odinga will return to run in 2027, I couldn't agree more. Let us see what is at stake. Today, as we sit here, there is the political parties funding for ODM, 300 million annually. There is the contribution for those people who have been elected on the ticket of ODM, almost 150 million annually. Then there is appearance stipends. When that guy comes to visit your place where you are the host, you must take care of him one way or the other. And then the businesses that take place in Luland wants to be friendly to him, and they must make him happy. That is what I call a financial base. You don't just walk out because AU has offered you some 2 million job. You have not seen the last of it, this AU thing.
Okay.
Watch out until June. The stories will be big and you will return me here and say, here, there's somebody not putting all the cards on the table. You remember when Raila Odinga came back from Germany? That is when his story changed. He started talking about Addis Ababa is only 2 hours away. And when they were in Amoma Bay, they said he is unbogable. He is there's another, huh? Unpangable. He also said that.
Yeah.
And he went round on a road show in Kisii and then Kakamega and then back to Homa Bay again. And he was very defiant. And he just fell short of saying, I don't need Ruto to get this thing. I did not need to say it. So there are things that we still do not know as the ordinary men and probably in the media. You will get them very soon.
Only time will tell. Gentlemen, we have to take a short break. Allow us to do that. The bills have to be paid. But as we come back, we definitely want to hear from you. We'll be opening our calling lines in the next 30 minutes. So feel free to give us your take on the discussion we've had here, right at the round table, on the issues that we've canvassed so far. As we come from the short break, we'll focus on the G7 meeting that happened last week. Women definitely want their space within the political leadership in the country. We'll evaluate what it means and equally take a look at other developments. Do stay with us. You're watching Inside Politics.